Hello and welcome. We are so glad that you have joined us here today on this incredible day for our training. I'm joined here by the Small Business Administration Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing very, very well. We're headed into the Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
Excited to be here with the Thrivers, talking about a subject that I frankly feel like a lot of people have questions about.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of questions from Thrivers wanting to know the do's and the don'ts of employee application forms.
Ooh.
So let's hop into it. We have a template we're going to make available for all the Thrivers that you can use.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into the specifics, so I'm excited.
All right, so before I let you deep dive into what we're talking about, let me read the 9 don'ts.
Okay.
I'm going to set them up so you guys know what we're talking about, and then we're going to break them down one by one. Don't number, that's kind of weird, don't number 1.
Yeah, don't number 1.
Don't number 1, don't racially discriminate. Don't number 2, don't discriminate in terms of skin or color pigmentation. Don't number 3, don't discriminate based upon religion. Number 4, don't discriminate based upon gender. Number 5, don't discriminate based upon sexual orientation or gender identity. Don't number 6, don't discriminate based upon national origin. Don't number 7, don't discriminate based upon age. Don't number 8, don't discriminate based upon disability. And finally, don't number 9, create a job advertisement that breaks any of the previously discussed rules. Clay?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, that's a mouthful, but I want to give you a little excerpt because this is available on the U.S. Equal Opportunity Commission's site. You can read this. I'm going to give this to you, okay?
Excellent.
It says the laws enforced by the EEOC prohibit an employer or other covered entity from using neutral employment policies and practices that have a disproportionately negative effect on the blah, 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 blah. We'll put it up on the screen. The point is, we're going to get real now about what you can't do because this is the deal where we had a few Thrivers who got themselves in trouble, and I want to be real. So I'm going to get into it, okay? So don't racially discriminate.
Yeah.
What you can't do is you can't walk in and go, I have a problem with white people.
You
all
can
the white people, if we could have you sit over here, and then the white guy's like, well, I'm actually not technically white. I'm actually have a little bit of Italian. Like the way you spoke confirms you're white. Get over here.
You can use me as an example.
You know what I'm saying?
I speak Spanish.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying I see it a lot.
Yeah.
And people who are watching going, what do you mean? There's actually a reverse racism that happens too, where you have let's say a Hispanic-owned business or where they go, we're so tired of being discriminated against that now we've made it basically hard for a white person to work here. Or businesses where white people are, it's just any kind of race. It doesn't matter, but you cannot, do not do that, okay? Just don't do it. The second is you can't discriminate in terms of skin, color, or pigmentation. Because what happens is a lot of times is people in their mind have a thing called a prejudice.
Correct.
And what happens with the prejudice is you assume those people. Mm-hmm. As an example, over the years, we've worked with a lot of couples that are from India in our wedding businesses. They're from India.
Yeah.
And people from India typically have a 2-day wedding in the traditional sense. They have it's like a big festival. It's like 2 weddings worth of work. You know what I'm saying? Where their wedding, a typical Caucasian wedding, okay, is a very short occasion. It might be 6 or 7 hours. Yeah. Where a wedding from a couple from India, they've got what's the kind of the tattoo they do? The what's that kind of?
I know what you're talking about.
It's a temporary tattoo. I can't remember. They're going to put it on the screen. They'll save me here, but we'll put it on the screen. But the thing is that they'll get the tattoo, done the temporary tattoos. They have these beautiful gowns. It's a festival, multiple course meal. So if you're not careful when you think of Indian weddings, if you work in our office, you're thinking, okay, this is how it's going to be. And if you're not careful, you'll just quote the person the price based on the extra hours needed to do a 2-day event. But if you talk to them, you could find out they're very Americanized and they don't do anything that aligns culturally with what's tradition.
Wow.
And they actually, all they have that sounds Indian anymore is the voice, the way they sound. So just don't discriminate. You don't discriminate based on religion. That's tough because and I could fight with some people about this, but I think if you want to get in your front desk and you want to pray at work, and you're like, I really want to pray, and then somebody else next to you is like sitting, kind of perching, not really sitting, but perching. You ever met a man who perches?
Why don't you give me an example?
I can't do it, but we have a guy who used to work in an office who perches. They kind of sit in that yoga position where you're like crisscrossing your legs, but on your chair.
Eric, can you do that?
And I'm not exaggerating. This guy used to come to work, and he would basically do this. He would be like, I'm like, hey, are you okay over there? Yeah, why? I don't know. You have headphones on and you're... Bro, what are you doing? Now, that's cool as long as he's not polishing a warhead on his desk or he's not sharpening a knife while doing it. I'm being serious, though. You can like get into a yoga move if that's what you need to do to get your day going. But we have some laws coming out where, people can't pray and they can't this. All I'm just saying is don't make it uncomfortable for your co-workers to coexist based upon your religion, okay? So don't do that. These are all things you cannot do and the other things you can't do, okay?
True.
You can't discriminate based on gender. You can't, and I recently, 6 years ago, somebody who wants to research this can get into it. If you Google my name and enough different things, you'll find a company that I used to do the PR and marketing for. And one of the awesome things that the owner did, just a great idea. He brought in a CEO who was ageist. He only wants young people.
Ooh.
And sexist. So he literally said, and drivers, this is the stuff that you can't do, but I mean, we can edit it out, but he literally goes, I only want hot chicks with working here.
Are you serious?
He said it in front of his whole staff of dudes. So one of the staffers was like, what? And he goes, hot chicks with He literally said this. Wow. I'm saying this because you know who you are watching this. You go to a workplace where your boss is like, hey, man, we can get her back for an interview. I'll create a job for her if you know what I mean. And you're like, you're a sick freak. And there's people that do that kind of stuff. So this guy ends up getting sued. This person wins a major lawsuit. The company just blows up. Wow. And we were hired at the time of doing like PR. And I was like, I can't really fix that. Can't put a perm on that frog. You know what I mean? So, and I ended up having to testify. I literally had to testify and give my actual, they asked me what was said, and I had to do a deposition and say this is what was said. True story. And they settled out of court. But that's I'm just saying this is not as uncommon as you think it is. So let's not
hiring people.
Well, that business, the guy was wealthy enough to pay this person a lot of money, but I was at the tag agency getting my license renewed, and the lady who was fired for being north of 50 and not fitting the job description, she was there, and she goes, thank you so much for, you have no idea for sharing, because she's lost her job.
Oh, man.
Simply because he made that declarative statement of, hey, this is what we're going to do.
That's wrong.
So it is wrong, but it happens a lot. The next thing is you can't discriminate based on sexual orientation. So here's the deal. Is like a lot of times people in an office, workplace are like, Jose, I love having sex with my wife. And you're going, why are you saying this? Like, I just do, man. I just love, and you're going, that is so uncomfortable. Stop saying that. And come on. Being real, has everyone worked there before? No? Am I the only person who's ever had a job? I used to work at Applebee's, and my boss would go, he was a dude, and he goes, I tell you what, that young man, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. He's like, Clay, if you want to stay after work, a lot of the guys here, and I'm like, are you? He's like, no, I'm not. I'm just saying, but if you did want to stay after work, there's a way to move your way up to the top here.
Oh, wow.
And he obviously was homosexual, but he wanted to tell me about it. But then I worked for a guy back in the day who was a raging heterosexual. And he just, you come in for, how was your weekend? Man, I tell you what, we did boom, boom. And you're going, whoa. And this stuff you would hope is, we're in a culture where you would hope you would get this. But here's the problem. The problem is, and I want you to hear me because you know who you are. Chameleonaire. Flo Rida. That's your problem. The problem is it like it's in pop songs, Katy Perry, where Katy Perry's talking about, no, seriously, she's talking about having a menage a trois in a pop song. So third graders are like, Friday nights, we're having a good party, we're having a good party, all of a sudden we're having sex with three people, and their mom's like, what'd you just say? I was just singing along to Katy Perry, menage a trois. And you're like, do you know what that means? And the third grader's like, I don't know what that, it's a word that rhymed, I guess. And then you realize that the cultural boundaries have been eroded to where that's normal.
Brainwash.
You watch a show tonight, and the show, it's like, that's so funny. And the guy in the show, right? Yeah. He propositions somebody, and something crazy happens, and it's funny because it's a comedy, and we laugh. Yeah. You watch a Will Ferrell movie, and he's like, all of a sudden, he's naked. That's why I watch Will Ferrell movies. He's always naked and running around. You know what I mean? But and it's kind of funny that he's going streaking. You guys ever seen that? Have you seen old school?
I can't.
If you've seen old school, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, he just, in all of his movies, he just gets naked and he goes streaking. And it's kind of funny. But then, like, if you go on YouTube and watch it tonight, there was a buddy, it was on YouTube, office manager, it's on YouTube, you can see it, at Yankee Stadium. The office manager looks next to the guy next to him and he goes,
oh my God.
Hey, the first hit at Yankee Stadium, if you take your clothes off and run onto the field, I'll give you $1,000.
No.
True story.
No.
And so the guy was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, how am I going to do it? They're talking. So the guy takes his clothes off but keeps his coat on. And as soon as they hit the ball,
no.
I'm not kidding, he runs onto the field naked. He gets tackled, gets arrested. Dude, that's like on your record. You're not getting another job. So the thing was, did he get his $1,000? I think he actually did.
To bail him out of jail?
But he lost his job. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying it's a culture like you can listen to a Justin Bieber song about like, or you can listen to, what's that song, Lady Cop by Lil Wayne? Wee, like a lady cop, you know, in like, you can, that's kind of cool. But if you like, it's kind of cool. Like, it's fun. It's just a song that rhymes. But if you get pulled over and you try going innuendo on a lady cop, you are definitely going to jail. So all I'm saying is a culture, I'm saying this because as a culture, we're in a boundaryless culture. We're told one thing, that anything is acceptable over here, but then the kid, and those of you, one of our hosts, Shrita, she used to be a teacher, so I'm sure you saw this in the classroom. Kids try to live out the Lil Wayne lyrics or the Katy Perry lyrics in the classroom.
Yeah.
And they're just going, all I did was, I told him I wanted to have a menage a trois. I don't see what the big deal is. And you're like, do you know what that means? So all I'm saying is these are things you can't do. Other things, you can't discriminate based upon national origin. This is a huge issue right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've had terrorism happen, right?
Correct.
So we've had people who've blown up things who have tended to be from one geographic area.
Yep.
But you can't just say those people. Mm-hmm. You can't just go, those people. You know, just because. So I used to work in an office where our top mortgage broker guy, his middle name was Hussein. Okay? And this was the time when we were like really fighting terrorism. And we literally had to, I'm not kidding, he had to go by a different name in the office.
Wow.
So instead of going by his given name, we had to go by Hank. So what was your name? My name's Frank Smith. And he literally had to do that, not because we wanted him to, but he was not able to sell a mortgage. And so he had to change his name to Hank Smith. So they were calling yada yada, this is Hank Smith. And you couldn't tell in his voice.
Yeah.
But when you heard the name Hussein, whatever, he couldn't get a deal. And he came to me and goes, is it okay if I change my name to Hank Smith? I'm like, sure, dude. You know what I mean? So you just got to be thinking about that.
Wow.
Now, if you're a rapper, you got to change your name to Lil Wayne. It's got to be Little something. Little Feezy, Little Easy, Little Mo, Little Mookie. Little Al, Lorraine. I'm just listing off the lyrics to a Skilo song. Anyway, what I'm saying is, but you got to have like a, you know what I'm saying? So it'd be weird. I'm just making sure you're getting this though. The main thing is you cannot discriminate based on national origin. The next one is you can't discriminate based on age. We talked about it earlier, but if somebody like, bro, you're too old, man. You're too old. We just like young coders. You're an old guy. You can't do it, okay? Other thing is you cannot create a job advertisement that breaks those rules. Now, some people say,
or how does disability too? Well,
or disability, you're right. And I'm going to tell you this though. People say, well, how does a company like Hooters do it? You know, how does Twin Peaks do this? How do they? Because you can't do this. How are they doing this? I will tell you that as much as I disagree with their entire business plan,
right,
they've created a culture where only a certain kind of person would want to work there.
Correct.
And they've created a culture where if you are America's largest human, you're probably not even going to apply to work there because you wouldn't feel comfortable being there, and that's the deal. Right. And there's certain businesses like certain completely redneck businesses I can think of right now, like an antique shop. There's one in Coweta I can think of where they're just like, "Hey man, you want to buy something?" You're going, "Could you wear pants?"
Oh my God.
You know, to the owner, you're like, could you wear pants? Could you put on? I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you were going to come on in the store today. Do you have pricing on your items? Do you have any pricing on the items? Why? You want to buy something? Let me get my pants. I mean, they've created a culture where like no one wants to work there anyway. So they can kind of get away with that. But I'm saying to you, as a general rule, these are the moves you need to do. Now, what do you do? Do everything that is not on the don't list. Okay, and we will give you a template, Thrivers, a template. An actual, you can download our actual templated document for the questions you can ask in an interview. They're already scripted for you.
Right.
We just wanted to take the extra time to explain to you what you can't say so that you don't go to jail with the guy who ran onto the Yankee Stadium field naked while celebrating a hit in order to win $1,000.
And he ruined his whole life forever.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you want this template, feel free to email us at info@thrive15.com. Be sure you get that. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. Remember, don't do that, but do what's not on this list.
Bang.
Chicka bang bang.